Hello, and welcome to Guidance for Better Life. Today's story is about learning to follow the nudges from the divine. And my guest today, Chris Comfort, has learned over the years up at our retreat center how to follow divine nudges and guidance. And the story he's going to share, by him doing so, it made a huge difference on a very elderly man that was very lonely. So I hope you watch today. Thank you. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
This is a cool story. You've learned over the years up at the retreat center for Guidance for Better Life. That's one of the things we do is learn when the divine is giving us a nudge.
Exactly.
Tugging on the heart or that little voice inside that's not ours often. It's the divine. So you're driving to town one day, going shopping.
Yeah,
right?
It was a weekend, and I had my to-do list.
Your to-do list, okay.
And at that time, I lived in the city, and there were exactly 22 lights between where I lived and the store I was getting to.
Where was that?
In Charlottesville.
Oh, Charlottesville.
In downtown on Route 29.
22 lights.
Exactly 22 from there in the store I was trying to get to.
Okay.
So I was not only had my agenda where I was going, but trying to see if I could miss as many lights as I
Sounds like
could.
you had a mission.
I did. I was on a mission.
So driving along, and there's one point you had just about 2 seconds to decide something. You got a nudge.
I did.
A tugging at the heart, and you felt you were being asked to do something. And you called it, I think in the book, it's in Book 2 of Testimonies of God's Love, answering the call.
That's right.
Like you felt you were called.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was about maybe 4 or 5 lights in, and I was coming up to an intersection, and I just had a strong nudge to just turn and go to a completely different store that I hadn't even thought of. And the window for that was about maybe 2 or 3 seconds, so if I didn't follow right away, I probably would have kept going. And in all honesty, I probably wouldn't have made the effort to turn around.
Yeah,
so
it would have been just too difficult.
Exactly.
So you had to follow it quicker than you not at all. And you followed the nudge. What did you feel the nudge was? The call, the asking of the Lord. What was it? What were you being asked?
I specifically felt I was being asked to go to a different store, and I didn't know the why of it. I didn't have time to think about it. Okay. It was just simply go to this other store here.
Does it matter if you know the why, or if God asks you to do something?
Yeah, I'd like to think I would do it regardless.
It shouldn't really matter the why.
Yeah.
And you have a trusted relationship with
Absolutely.
the divine.
Absolutely.
So pretty quick, you turned.
I turned right away.
And what kind of store was it?
It was a Kmart. Convenient.
Oh, Kmart.
Yeah, it was a Kmart.
Okay. And
I went in the store.
You don't know why you're there.
I'm not sure why I'm there.
That was where you're supposed to go.
But I felt very strongly that's where I was supposed to go.
Okay, you walk in, and what do? You ask the person, what am I doing here?
Go to the information desk.
Go to the information desk, right.
There was an elderly man who was passing out flyers when I walked in, and it caught my attention, but I wasn't sure at that point, so I walked over, and I think I picked up one of the weekly flyers and just sort of leafed through it, and I listened to see if there was a nudge to go where to go or whom to talk to.
Sometimes you get a nudge from the divine, but that's not the end of it. And you start following the request, and then you need to be observant for the next breadcrumb.
Exactly.
Sometimes if you just listen to the first one, you won't get done what needs to be done. So you're kind of looking at a sale paper or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're still listening in here.
I got still inside, and I was listening and asking what next, basically.
Oh, so you didn't just listen; you also proactively were asking.
Yeah, because I saw it as a mission.
Okay.
And a mission from God.
All right.
And I was following, and I was going to see it through to where it led me.
All right. That's neat. You can ask if you're not sure. You can listen, but you can also proactively ask.
Absolutely.
I'm here. Where do I go now?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what did you feel you got?
I was drawn back to the old man who I'd passed on the way in.
And you were first had a feeling about him.
He caught my attention, exactly.
But you weren't sure.
I wasn't sure. I didn't get a strong feeling either way when I first walked in.
So when you got what you felt was guidance about the man, did you feel you were supposed to approach him?
I did, and I started to walk towards him. And he actually turned as if he felt something similar and started walking towards me at the same time.
You said in the story that's like he was almost expecting you, because before you got close, he was already approaching you.
He was.
Okay.
And walked over, and I still, at this point, I didn't have any clue as to what I was going to say, but it seemed like the right thing to do at that
Okay.
point. And
It's a lot of trust here. Not sure, but you're following.
I felt very strongly that was
Okay.
where I was supposed to be.
Did you talk to him? Or?
I just started talking, and there wasn't really any warm up to it. We just started he just started talking like we were old friends. He just started sharing, and I asked about his day, and I felt very strongly all I needed to do at that point was just to listen.
Yeah, it sounds like he just needed to talk, and he needed somebody to really listen.
Exactly.
That's what I got from your story. And I think you said, your story went on longer than our interview, but one of the things he shared, his wife had just recently passed away.
Yeah, he was in his mid-80s. His wife had already passed away. His daughter, I think, was in Europe or another country, and it didn't seem like he had a lot of family.
When I read your story, I felt sad, like he was very lonely.
He didn't seem to be very healthy. He seemed kind of sickly, and he shared that he wasn't working because he wanted to. He kind of sort of needed to. It was sort of in order to survive. I guess he was struggling a little bit.
Okay.
So I had a lot of compassion for him.
And how long did you talk to him?
At least maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
He just really shared. I just listened.
What are some of the things he shared besides his wife was, I think, recently deceased?
He had lived in that area most of his life, and so he just remembered like how much a suit used to cost for $7, and
Wow.
growing up and a lot of the changes that he had seen in his lifetime. And I just really listened, and there came a point where I wasn't listening. I felt like we were just two children of God who were just listening to one another and sharing. I didn't see him as maybe his outer form would indicate at that point.
Didn't see male or female or old, young, just a child of God to a child of God.
Yeah, just speaking. And it was very,
Very
comfortable
cool.
and relaxed. There was nothing awkward about it. It was really a neat
So
experience.
mostly listening.
Mostly listening.
Sometimes when you get a nudge to do something for the divine, you do it, you trust, but you don't really know why. In hindsight, how long ago was this?
It was almost 15 years ago.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
a long time ago. Looking back, and it's still fresh. It touched you also on some level.
Right.
But have you thought about why? Or you don't need to ask why? Why you needed to approach him?
Maybe there was a window there that somebody needed to listen to him, and maybe he wasn't getting that. And I believe that God wants us to look out for one another.
Yeah.
And there was a window, and I was willing to.
And being a good listener is a good thing. And in your story, it talks several places where it's almost like he was waiting for you, which sounds kind of weird, but he was just ready to talk.
He really was. At one point, he put his hand out and put it on my shoulder, almost to lean on me, and I felt like maybe he was getting something more than just listening at that point. Maybe the divine was giving him some help.
Maybe through you giving him some help.
Some strength to get through what he was going through.
My sense from your story, and I was very sad reading it, that he was very lonely, had to literally go to a store to talk to somebody, had maybe no friends, nothing. I'd even wonder if he's getting ready to pass away.
I've thought about that. Like, I don't know if he remembered me at all, but I sure remember him, and I wonder if it was he needed to just sort of clean his slate, and he was ready to move on, because he just shared so many things. He shared his sorrows and regrets and joys in life. I mean, he had
it's almost summing up his life.
It really was.
And he wanted somebody to hear.
It really was amazing in a short amount of time how much we covered. And
well, thanks for your service.
Well, it was a joy. It's a pleasure.
Very cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I think we have our agendas in life, and
like you were on the way to.
I was on my way to to get what I needed. And we need to be captains of our ship. We have to take care of life. But I think if we're willing sometimes to at least entertain or
be available to other people.
Be available. Listen to Spirit, that maybe Holy Spirit has something that is a blessing to us or another person.
Even in a busy store, you notice nowadays A lot of people just don't talk, or they're looking at their phone
Exactly.
or doing social things that are very antisocial. They're not actually talking to people. It seemed like he just needed, I felt like he might be ready to pass, but I don't know. I didn't see him
Right.
based on his health and
Mhm.
age, and like he just wanted to share a little bit of his life history so somebody would remember him maybe. So,
Yeah. It was
do you have any
amazing.
regrets? You gave it 15 minutes?
I don't.
You could have gotten home and done something.
I was trying to think of what I actually bought that day, and I certainly don't
That's
remember
better.
that, but I did remember that,
Yeah.
that encounter with
Do you
him.
feel you got something out of it, or was it just a gift to this elderly
It was
man?
definitely a blessing to me to be able to just listen to someone and have them be so
Yeah.
open and available and be able to listen to them.
Yeah, that
That
many
was
years
really a
later,
gift.
it must have done something for you because you're still very clear on it. So, anything else,
Absolutely.
Chris?
I think that's
You
it.
good?
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. I'm not sure exactly what the pearl of wisdom is here. I think one thing would be sometimes it's worth giving up a few minutes of your agenda, things that are urgent, things you got to do. They'll get done eventually. And give another child of God, another soul, a little bit of your time if you feel you're drawn to them. Maybe take a chance and change your schedule, and maybe don't get everything on your list on that day, but help God help one of his children out by maybe just listening. So thank you for watching. I hope you get something out of this. So bless you. Thank you so much.